Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and this is going to be Re-Gimmick number 3, Gunner and Murphy. As always, my disclaimer, I am in no way saying that I can book wrestling better than the bookers or writers of any wrestling organization. These opinions are mine and mine alone, and only represent something that I would find entertaining. So, these two guys have been in TNA for a few months now, and they've been basically playing the role of security guards and then hired guns by Immortal. They occasionally wrestle as a tag team, but sooner or later this Immortal storyline has got to come to an end. So then what happens to them? I'm of the opinion you really only have two choices: make them a tag team or release the two guys. And in the interest of better judgment and not wanting to throw people out on the street without a job, I say we go with the route of make them a tag team, a real tag team. But if they're going to be a legitimate tag team that's going to be taken seriously, we're going to have to slightly re-gimmick them. You're going to have to start having them start getting some wins to look good, because you know they've yet to win an actual tag team match, but they haven't really had that many. So you have to start getting a few wins and make them up to be something credible. Contrary to what some people online will tell you, these guys do not suck. They appear to be two very decent, competent wrestlers. They've both been in the business for a while, and if properly used, they could add something good to your show. You know, TNA prides itself on having the best tag team division, and the division has sort of taken a little bit of a dip over the past few months. And having another team can always add to it, get some good non-title feuds going. But as far as what we do with them afterwards, I'll talk about Gunner and Murphy and what to do with them in another video. It'll probably be another edition of After Immortal. But let's get on with re-gimmicking the two. First things first, they're going to need full names. Gunner and Murphy just ain't going to cut it in the long run. So let's first see if we can come up with some new names. Gunner, his real name, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page. His real name is Chad Lail. That's Lail. I think that's how it's pronounced. And he is best known for wrestling on the indie scene under the name Phil Shatter. So he got his real name Chad Lail, then his name he wrestled under Phil Shatter, and he's known in TNA as Gunner. So if the Gunner thing just disappeared, that wouldn't make sense. So we got to use Gunner, and that sounds better as a last name than a first name. So we need something Gunner. Now we can use his real first name, Chad Gunner. I think that sounds pretty good, Chad Gunner. Then his other ring name that he's mainly used, Phil Gunner. Phil Gunner sounds kind of corny, but Chad Gunner I could get into. I could see that, Chad Gunner. Hang on, I'm gonna type that down for a second. Wait, Chad Gunner. Now I'm gonna move on to Murphy. Fun fact, actually, you know Murphy's real name? Murphy's real name is Michael Cole. That makes me giggle. He is best known by his ring name that he has used which is Michael Judas. So we got Murphy, so Michael Murphy, Mike Murphy, Judas Murphy. I gotta think of that. Okay, Michael Murphy, Mike Murphy, Judas Murphy, or Cole Murphy. Yeah, I put the two last names together. Cole Murphy. Let's try them. Alright, let's see how they sound together. Tell me which one sounds best together. Chad Gunner and Cole Murphy. Okay. Chad Gunner and Michael Murphy. Okay. Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. Okay, that sounds best to me right there. Mike Murphy. Yeah, Mike Murphy. So that's what we'll go with. Let me type that real quick. Mike Murphy. Okay, so we got them some ring names: Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. Now they need a team name. You know, TNA really doesn't do the whole just stick two guys together. You know, they put Saban and Shelley together. They became the Machine Guns. They put Rude and Storm together. They became Beer Money. When they put Rude and Chris Hash together a few years ago, they gave them a name: America's Most Wanted. When they put Shannon Moore and Jess Neal together, they became Ink Inc. So they're really not known for just this guy and this guy as a team. So we need a tag team name for Gunner and Murphy. Alright, so Gunner, Murphy. No, I can't think of it right now. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop this video. And then I'm going to come back a little later. And when I thought of some team names. And then we'll continue. Alright. Okay, I am back. It is actually many hours later. It's actually the next day. I had to go to work and just was busy most of the day and didn't really get a chance to come back and finish this video talking about Gunner and Murphy. So, I did some web searches, did some stuff online to come up with stuff. I'm not really good at making up tag team names, I gotta tell you. Unless somebody has a distinct gimmick. And in them not having a distinct gimmick made it difficult to come up with a name. You know, if they were just like, you know, two dudes of a specific like nationality or from a specific country, I could use something from that country. But all I know about Gunner and Murphy is that they're two white guys. I got nothing for two white guys, but I did come across a name. I was on Yahoo and I did a search for tag team names, and there was this thread. People were talking about unused tag team names, and one person put up a name that sounded pretty good. It's kind of arrogant sounding, but I think it could work. And it was the name that they came up with was The Perfect Combination, and it stood out to me for some reason. I don't know, that sounded good, so I typed it out with the name that I came up with for Gunner and Murphy, once again, Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy, and put them together, and I think it works. Imagine like a ring announcer announcing it: The Perfect Combination, Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. Remember how when Haas and Benjamin were the world's greatest tag team, they would announce them as the world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. Well, it would be kind of like that. They would be announced as The Perfect Combination, Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. I think that could work. So, and plus, I can't think of anything else. So, I'm going to go with that for now. So, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Oh, and by the way, I actually, since I did the first part, I have watched the Against All Odds pay-per-view, and Gunner and Murphy were in the match, and they actually came out in wrestling gear. They looked like a tag team. Look, again, I'm going to reiterate what I said in the first part. You know, I watched the guys wrestle, and I know some people try to say they don't have talent, but I just don't see it. They clearly have decent wrestling ability. I mean, they may not be the greatest of all time, but you know, everybody ain't Shawn Michaels. They can clearly put on a decent match. I could have done without, I would have rather that match at Against All Odds just been Gunner and Murphy versus Beer Money. Scott Steiner was great, but Rob Terry just in the way. But you know what? This isn't an Against All Odds review, but I would like to see them just as themselves go against some other teams. I think Gunner and Murphy got potential as a legitimate tag team, and I would like to see them be used more as a legitimate tag team. So I'm gonna leave it at that with my new name and team, The Perfect Combination, Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. I can see that working. Let's try it ring announcer style and see how it sounds. Here are your winners and the new TNA World Tag Team Champions, The Perfect Combination, Chad Gunner and Mike Murphy. Yeah, I like it. This is the Shallow Ranger. If you like my videos, please subscribe and follow me on Twitter at TJSMITH3. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.